So for voters, and particularly Donald Trump supporters, who are nervous about letting people in who seem different and who don't speak a word of English, I mean, what do you say to them?
I mean, Donald Trump wouldn't be here today if his grandparents didn't immigrate here, right? So that's really how our country has been built. It's been built by immigrants. And for Muslims especially, you know, the PBS released a study where they said that 10 to 15% of slaves that literally came here on boats in America were Muslim. They literally built this country. So of course we belong here. And the fact that we're only spoken about in the context of this refugee crisis or as outsiders or as immigrants is simply, you know, inaccurate.
And of course, I mean, I know, having read your book and your blog, you're also very incensed that often you're spoken about in terms of terrorism. And even when they're not painting you with a broad brush, there is a feeling of if only peaceful Muslims would speak out about the radicals in their midst, this problem would be solved. What is the error in thinking there?
It inherently implicates the Muslim people as a whole for terrorism rather than looking at it as an individualistic act. And of course, it's to keep in mind the context that there's 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. So the majority of us, yeah, not only do we speak out against terrorism, but we actually we have nothing to do with it. So the fact that we're expected to constantly speak to it is, I think, very dehumanizing.
And also, I mean, people in Muslim communities do call the police all the time, even on their own children and on their neighbors. They do it all the time. The idea that this isn't happening is also a misconception.
Absolutely.
I want to read just one little portion from your book because you talk about how your lives as a whole have changed since 9/11. After 9/11, it was like a curtain had been pulled back on my family, casting them into a spotlight and revealing them to a world that seemed to have always been festering behind a thin veil. Is that how you still feel today?
Unfortunately, yeah. You know, I think that, especially with the current election cycle, that curtain has been pulled back even more. And we really see just the underlying sentiments that exist within America towards people that are different from us or that seem different. And it's really difficult. You know, the fact that there are civil rights organizations saying that Islamophobia today hasn't been this high of a level since immediately after 9/11. It's like, I think that we should be progressing forward rather than slipping backwards and getting even worse.
Well, Amani, thanks so much for having this conversation with us here on New Day today. And the book, again, is Muslim Girl. It's a fascinating read for everyone who's interested. Thanks so much.
Thank you.